Hey, welcome back to the fly room here at St. Pete Fishing Outfitters. I got my friend Cliff Nigh here with some expert fly tying advice. He's going to tie a new fly today. Cliff, tell us about what we're going to see here this evening.
I call this thing a Thunderstruck Minnow. I like tying simple flies that are effective. This is my go-to beach fly. And what it is, Puglisi came out with a brand new material called the Thunderstruck. Thus, I call this the Thunderstruck Minnow. There's only two pieces of material in here: Pearl Thunderstruck, Peacock Thunderstruck, and a set of eyes. And it's very, very simple to fly, but it's my go-to fly for beach stuff.
Nice. Sometimes a convincing, simple lure is often the best one.
You're right. You're right. Simple is good.
Definitely. All right, well, I won't take up any more time. We really want to get this one done. We're here at the close of the day here at the shop. So I'll go ahead and get back behind the camera and let you get rolling.
All right, let's do it. Okay, what I have in the vise today is a size 4 mustad shrimp hook. I like sizes 2, 4, and 6 for my beach flies. I use a shrimp hook only because it's it's a shorter shank hook. All I've done so far is laid a bed of thread starting at the eye down to the bend of the hook. What I'm going to do now is bring this thread back up towards the eye, and I'm going to stop right about center hook. I'm going to take a small amount of this Puglisi Thunderstruck fiber, and those that are in my fly class know one of my favorite slogans is less is more. You don't need a lot of this stuff because it builds up quickly. So what I'm going to do is I took a small clump out of there, I doubled it over. I'm going to lash that right to the top of my hook. I'm only going to take about 2 or 3 turns, and then I'm going to work it around the hook. This fly is being tied in what they call a hollow body build, and you'll see where that plays in just a minute. Now I'm going to lock it in there nice and tight, finish wrapping down, and I'm going to come back about halfway between the eye and that clump I just tied in. I'm going to clean up any stragglers. I'm going to grab another clump of this. I'm going to double it over, just like I did the last one. But when you do a hollow build, this is where things take a different twist. I'm going to tie this going forward. And again, I'm going to take 2 or 3 relatively loose wraps. I'm going to work this around the shank of the hook. I'm going to pull it back. I'm going to build a dam of thread in front of it. Don't overwrap your material. As soon as you start to overwrap it, it stops being a hollow body build. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a nice dam of material in front, and you'll see how nicely that lays, but it also gives you a lot of space and air in between. Last step of material, I'm going to take a little bit of this Peacock, and when I say a little bit, I don't think we need a whole lot. All we're doing is trying to suggest a little bit of color on top of the fly. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this going forward. But this time I don't want it going around a hook, so I'm going to make sure it stays on top of the hook. And then I'm going to pull it back, just like I did the other one, and I'm going to build a dam of thread in front of it. Being careful not to overwrap the material itself, just building that dam of thread in front. Okay, now that my dam of thread is on there and this is laying back nicely, it's time to whip finish it. This is Viva's thread, and and you'll see me spin the bobbin every now and then. Some of your heavier threads have a tendency to loosen up on you, and when that happens, all you have to do is spin your bobbin to tighten them up again and give you a nice tight thread. So I'm just going to throw 3 or 4 wraps in here with the whip finisher. It allows me to stay nice and tight. Tighten that down. Then the handiest tool of all time, don't anybody laugh at this, this is my mustache comb. And I just like combing through the materials just to get the tangles out. Everything else on this fly now is trimming. We are done tying. Everything else is trimming and the gluing onto the eyes. Excuse me. When we trim, always keep in mind you can take more off, but once you've cut, you can't put it back. So and we trim the top as well as the bottom. We just take off any stragglers. I like to tell people that if it looks like it doesn't belong there, it probably doesn't. So go ahead and get rid of it. You can see, but you can see now how this has taken on a true bait fish profile. It's got that nice, and what we'll do when we're all done with this is I'll go ahead and wet it down for you so it'll give you an idea what it's going to look like in the water. But you got that nice hollow body appearance. You've got the white pearl body. And you've got that suggestion of a darker green top. And if the darker green top doesn't matter to the fish, it certainly matters to us. So we're just going to give it a nice little stroke or two there. Can wet our fingers and help the shape along. And all right, it's time to put the eyes on. And what I like to do with the eyes, see if we can get this cleaned up so you can see. What I've done is I've taken some super glue gel. I've turned my eyes upside down. I rotate my fly so it's laying flat, and I grab a dollop of this super glue on the end of my bodkin. You don't need a ton of it, but you want a healthy little dollop on the end of my bodkin, and I just touch that to the back of my eye. See how it holds there? That allows me to come up to the fly, press it onto the fly, no super glue on my hands. Then I take the other eye and do the same thing on the opposite side of the hook. Super glue, line it up with the other eye, that's always the tricky part, is making sure they line up with each other. And when you're happy with it, just go ahead and let it cure. When we take, whether it's Loon or a Solar Res or any other UV product, one of the most important things we have to do before applying it is allow our super glue to totally cure. So why don't we give that a couple minutes to cure, and then we'll be back and we'll UV the head on it. Alright, I think our super glue is cured enough, and what I'm going to do is, all I'm going to do is take the Loon Flow. This is the real thin stuff. If you're using Solar Res, you can use their ultra thin. And what I do, I don't want to create a big UV head on this fly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm just going to put a nice big drop on the eye and then rotate it. And then I'm going to come around and I'm going to put a nice big drop in the center of the other eye and rotate it. And what that's going to do is that is going to drain off. It's going to drop down behind the hook. Behind the eyes. It's going to coat a little bit of hair under the eyes. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep rotating this so my fin doesn't end up in a clump. I'm going to take a UV light and apply it and just continue rotating. And we only need to do this for about 15 seconds for that UV, to cure. That should do it. We make a little adjustments here and there, cut off any stragglers I don't like. The head feels nice and dry now, and that is basically the fly. I mean, it looks good, but if we take it, this is just a cup of water. We take it out of the water, give it a shake. I think you'll understand why Snook will chew this up on the beach. So simple enough to tie and highly effective. Good luck with it and have fun.